Today's episode is brought to you by Mazars. SoundCartel. So, you're selling your goods and services to customers here in Australia. What if I were to tell you that without too much effort, you could multiply your potential market by 1,000? From SoundCartel, I'm Nicole Goodman, and this is Business Essentials Daily. India's massive and growing wealthy middle class is ripe for the picking, according to Nalder, CEO of the Small Business Association of Australia. She says it's not too hard to break into the Indian marketplace, and there are great opportunities, even for the smallest businesses. Anne begins by explaining to Jeff Waters how a new trade deal makes Australian products attractive in India.
Well, just recently, the Australian government signed a free trade agreement with India, and that provides a lot of opportunities because a lot of taxes on various items has been either reduced or taken off. But also the Indian economy, it's a very large economy. It's got a population of around nearly 4 billion people, and its middle class is growing. For example, they have 12 times the population of Australia as far as the middle classes go. And of course, they have got money and they want a lot of things that we either make or grow in Australia. So there's great opportunity. It's also, as a country, India is a young country, meaning that the majority of its population are young people. That's important because a lot of economies around the world, including Australia, has an ageing population, and that presents unique challenges as well. Now, the Indian government, in recognition of this, they are spending a lot of money on educating their young people, and they send them to the universities right around the world to learn medicine and a whole range of things. They're very, very focused on technology, and it's a great country to do business because English is the language that is used in business transactions, and it's also a common language where a majority of Indians speak English. They are used to our English laws, for example, so there's a commonality there. It's also a fabulous country to visit, and I don't think I've heard of anybody say anything derogatory about India. They love India. It's a very spiritual country, and it's also a very friendly country. But if you're going to do business there, though, you need to confine your location because it's such a huge country, and you need to know where you're going to do business.
So how can an Australian business take advantage of this new trade agreement? How can an Australian small business make its way into India?
Look, this is much the same as exporting anywhere in the world. It's a very daunting experience to go into another country because you need to be aware of their business etiquette, their customs, and a whole range of factors. And so it's always best to have somebody at the other end. Now, this is where we come into it because we do trade missions where we take small groups of business owners, Australian business owners, over to another country. And in this case, we're talking about India. The last time we visited India was in late 2019, just before the pandemic took over the world. And as I said, we take small groups over. Prior to going to India, we will do pre-trade mission workshops where we will discuss customs, etiquette, all those sorts of things that people need to be aware of. Because if you have some idea of what is required, it will also help you a great deal in your further dealings. Now, when you go to India, and it's a bit like this in Asia as well, it's not business usually straight away. You've got to get to know the people, and in many cases, for example, they will also invite you to a meal at home to meet the family, because in India, 70% of businesses over there are family-owned businesses, so that plays a major role. And family-owned businesses are great because they are the true, what I term, wealth creators not only for themselves, but also for the economy as well. So family plays a very, very vital role. So to start it off, as I said, you mustn't jump in boots and all. You've got to do your due diligence. You've got to become a little bit familiar with their compliance laws, banking situation, a whole range of factors. But as I said, we do pre-trade mission workshops, and we also take with us a qualified migration lawyer, because we will have also questions asked as to how do they go about doing business in Australia. So we go well prepared. We have contacts, and we've built those contacts up over a number of years, and it's a great relationship with India. Fabulous country. Our last place of visit was Jaipur, which is in northern India, and it's in the state of Rajasthan, and it's considered a desert area, but it's got fabulous, exquisite forts and palaces. It's unbelievable. You can't describe it, you know. So we not only had a great time going over there and meeting up with prospective business owners, and we actually matched them up before they go to Australia with people who may be able to do business with them. So we have a bio on our delegates, and then that gets passed on to our contacts in India, and we meet up with them and so forth to see if they can do business. But it can take you a few visits to really start doing something, because you've got to get to know them.
If you want a business advisor that walks with you and not just talks with you, then Mazars is the right fit for your business. To find out more, visit mazars.com.au. That's mazars.com.au.
What sort of Australian small businesses can take advantage of this?
Well, this is really good. As you know, small business is made up of three sizes. There's micro, small and medium. Now, micros, there's also people within that micro setup that are sole traders. These are usually the smallest of the small in small business. Now, for them, there are great opportunities because they can sell their services, and India is in need of services, the services sector. And if you're providing a great service, I mean, you don't need a lot of money because you're not exporting goods and you're not having to go into those requirements. So selling your services is a very, very interesting exercise because there's a great opportunity to do business with someone in India by providing services. Education's the same. It's not only about universities, it's also about people, for example, in Australia who do specialised courses and that. And they can also be a sole trader. They don't have to be big businesses. So they've got wonderful opportunities as well. When we were in India in 2019, we visited a number of universities there in Jaipur, which we have a great relationship. Even to this day, despite the pandemic, we still communicate. And our delegates, we addressed students at the various colleges as to coming to Australia, of course, to study, etc. But some of those delegates were also small business owners who did private courses in a variety of fields. And that is very, very interesting as well. So small business owners, regardless of size, have got great opportunities. Of course, the more you export, you need more dollars and things like that, but that's another situation. So you have got an opportunity, I repeat, even if you're the smallest of small business owners.
Well, say I am a small business owner listening to this interview and I think maybe there's a way that I could get my products or services sold in India. What's the first step they should take?
The first step would be, well, in our particular case, I would recommend, of course, getting in touch with us at the Small Business Association of Australia, and we discuss your needs. Now, we're not doing any trade missions just at the moment because a lot of things as far as travel, etc., it's still not 100%, but we've also formed an international forum group, and so we can still communicate with our counterparts in India via virtual meetings. And so we can do that. So what we would do is, in your particular case or any particular person's case, we would evaluate what is it that you wish to sell. We'd also look at what your needs are, and we would then try and match you up to a potential or a number of potential, let's call them buyers in India.
So, Anne, what is India looking for in an Australian business? What sort of things are they after from here?
Over the next 20 years, a growing India will need many of Australian goods and services, including minerals, food and agribusiness, personal care and cosmetics, great skincare. They're very much into organic stuff over there. Education, skills training, healthcare, premium foods and beverages such as wine. Now, wine is growing in popularity amongst Indian women, and something that a lot of people may not be aware of. India is also the world's biggest whiskey drinker, consuming 1 of 2 bottles sold globally. So if any Australian person makes whiskey in Australia, and I think there are some, that's a great opportunity to try and get their foot in the door.
That was Anne Nalder, founder and CEO of the Small Business Association of Australia. This episode of Business Essentials Daily is produced by the team at SoundCartel. Thanks for listening. I'm Nicole Goodman. We'll bring you more Be Daily tomorrow. Follow at BE Daily Podcast across social media and head to bedaily.com.au for more from the Business Essentials Daily podcast. SoundCartel. This episode was brought to you by Mazars. To find out more, visit mazars.com.au. That's mazars.com.au.